We're back, man. We're back. I know I took a break. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I had to go see my mom for Mother's Day. I'm sure you can understand. You know what I'm saying? I didn't only see my mom. I saw some MILFs. But anyways, we're back, man. If I'm being honest, I don't know what day it is. It'll say the day in the description. I think it's day 12. It's one of those. Day 11 or day 12. But we're back. This video is probably going to be a little bit quicker. Because if I'm being honest, I didn't even plan on dropping an entire video on this. But I'm realizing a lot of people don't know what OTE is. Optimal Trade Entry. And I'm going to show how I personally use it. I'm going to show what it is objectively. And I'm going to show how I personally use it. But it's pretty helpful, bro. Honestly, I use it literally. I think I genuinely do not go a day without using it. So I guess it is pretty important that I make an entire video on it. But today was a beautiful example. So OTE, you guys already know what a range is because I taught you what a range is. But so after CPI today, we had this range low, and this is your range high. Oh my gosh. But yeah, look how those just perfectly aligned. Oh my god. But yeah, range low and range high. So from the range low to the range high, we have equilibrium, the halfway point, and then we have optimal trade entry, OTE. It's the 0.62 retracement on the Fibonacci. Alright, so 0.62, get it in your freaking tool. Mine looks a little something like this. Just type in 0.62, bada bing, bada boom. Mr. Worldwide when I step in the room. I'm a hustler, baby, but that you knew. But yeah, get that in there. And then I don't like having this thing just sitting on my screen, so I typically just mark it out. 0.62, that's it right there, the gold line. And basically, it's called optimal trade entry for a reason. If we are at OTE, that is, if like today's a great example. We have these equal highs here, and my longer term draw, well, all-time highs is my longer term draw, but the end of the low resistance liquidity on the daily time frame was right here. That's my longer term draw on liquidity. On top of that, we had an SMT at the lows with ES. So I want longs. So when we get this retracement, the best place to go long, if we're going to be right about going long, is going to be the 0.62. That is typically, like, the way that I describe it and the way that I use it is like, it's like the last line of defense. Like if 0.62 doesn't hold on this range, I typically like assume we are going to come for the range low. So that is the optimal trade entry. That is the most optimal place to look for longs. And like I said, I use everything on the 15-minute time frame and above as bias. So I didn't enter off OTE, but that's where I was expecting the market to bounce. So with the idea of the market supposed to bounce at OTE, I took this trade. So we came off OTE, displaced, and validated this for value gap, turned it into an inverse for value gap. So that's where I got long. Got long off the inverse, but it's below the inverse and below this gap. Targeted these equal highs, and if I really wanted to, and I wanted to be a nutcase, I could have held for this. But I don't do that, to be honest. I don't like holding that long. So took this trade right here. And then for actual entries, you can still use OTE. Like for example, the range from this low to this high, because that is your new range, right? We put in a low, that tapped into this for value gap, put in a range high. Where did we perfectly retrace to? Perfectly. The 0.62 within a fair value gap. You want the 0.62, I mean, it's almost always going to be paired with the PD array. Like, it's very rare that it won't be. I don't even think if it's possible for it not to be. But you want OTE aligned with some sort of PD array. So, like, right here, well, for the higher time frame, we're aligned with the 15-minute fair value gap. Obviously, it's the CPI range is a fair value gap. So we went to OTE of that, boom. And then for this, we're lined up with the 1 minute fair value gap. So OTE, 1 minute fair value gap, equal highs, long-term draw. I mean, it's perfection, bro. It doesn't get much better than that. So that's why I personally use it. I can go ahead and find a bearish example for you real quick. But I just showed you how I use it for bias and how I use it for entries. It's pretty OP. But here's an example of what I mean about it, like getting invalidated, and how I confirm that to go the opposite direction. So like here, obviously we put in this range, and OT got disrespected. So at this point, I actually took these longs. So this was PPI? I'm not remembering. I can't remember what it is. But it was some sort of news. Yeah, it was PPI. PPI sent us down. We put it in the range. And then we traded above 0.62. We are comfortably above 0.62. I now assume that we are coming for the range high. So I got long at the range high. I'm pretty sure I took this 5 minute for value gap. It was like a 1 minute entry, but I was within this 5 minute for value gap, and I just got out at the range high. And we also have equal highs up here. So OTE is invalidated. Let's just say you're trading on the 5 minute time frame. I don't, but let's say you are. Took this 5 minute entry, got out at the relative equal highs. It's a free trade, bro. And actually that 5 minute long right here too was, I'm pretty sure it's OTE of this range as well. Look, to the tick, OTE, to the tick. But let's find another one. I want to find a bearish example of OTE holding. All that tough talk, just not scary for me. That is not your house, that's an Airbnb. Here's OTE. This should be another OTE. I'm so hungry, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I'm starving. Here's OTE again. Did we disrespect OTE? No, we didn't. Came right for this low. Holding the OTE. You can trade above it, but like when we're displacing above it and we're comfortably just trading above OTE, that's when I give up on the idea of us holding it. But here, you can see it held every single time, and then we finally delivered to the range low. For me, if I'm trading based on an OTE idea, typically, I mean, if I'm on the 1 minute time frame, I'm not doing this, but typically my draw, like if I'm looking at this 5 minute chart and I get a 1 minute entry, but it's supported by the idea of us being at the OTE of this range, my first target is going to be range low. And then obviously if it's a bullish scenario, my target would be range high like I showed you previously. But like here, even if I have a draw lower, like let's say I just wanted these lows for whatever reason, I'll partial. Or if it's a good enough trade, I'll get all out. But my first target's always going to be the range low. And then if OTE gets disrespected, it's going to be the range high. Like in this scenario, if it disrespected, my new target is now the range high, even if this was my draw, for example. My new target would be the range high, just like how I showed you earlier. OTE got disrespected, range high became my draw. So, I mean, I showed you an example. I'm pretty sure I showed you an example of both ends respecting and disrespecting. So, pretty much the way I use OTE, if I have, in a bullish scenario, if I have a draw on liquidity to the upside, like here, I'm looking for OTE to be respected. The way that I confirm whether or not I'm right about the draw on liquidity in the direction is if OTE holds and I have some lower time frame confirmation. So like here, OTE held, and then I got in on a 1 minute inverse. The 1 minute inverse to me confirmed that I was right and OTE is holding. So I either use it that way, or I use it to tell me, or like I said, I use it to tell me if I'm right or wrong. So in this scenario, let's say I was wrong and we weren't going to go up. OTE would have got disrespected and I now would have been looking for shorts. And it's the same thing. I look for a 1 minute entry that in my head confirms shorts. So I'm looking to see OTE either respected or disrespected. If it's disrespected, I'm going for the range low or high. And if it's respected, I'm obviously going for my draw on liquidity. So it's not like a super complex thing, but I realized that a lot of you guys didn't even really know what OTE was, even though I said it in like all the videos. But that's OTE. That's how I use it. Yeah, I literally use it the way that I just showed you, like every single day. So, but yeah, man. That's pretty much it, dude. I don't have anything else for you. OTE is nice. It should be in your analysis daily. It's a great tool. But yeah, man. I'm gonna get out of here. Kawaii. Kawaii. Ooh, I'm so kawaii.